We're going to start with 2-minute opening statements,
and we're going to
and then
go
we're going to proceed
alphabetical.
with questions from the panel.
Mr. May, you're first. John.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm asking for your vote for Milford Mayor. My family has lived in the borough since 1939. My family has always been involved in community service. My great-grandfather May was a borough mayor, and my other great-grandfather was justice of the peace. My grandfather was on the borough council and was chief of Milford Fire Department. My father is a sergeant with the Pike County Sheriff's Department. My wife Joanne works in the local business, and my children go to school here. We own a house in the borough, and I am pleased to live in the borough. I'm not a public speaker, but whatever I say is the truth and will always speak from the heart. As mayor, my main duty and most important is to oversee the police department and to work with the police personnel with input from the officers that patrol our streets as well as public they serve. Public safety is top priority for the borough. My second duty is to break a tie if needed at a council meeting. As mayor, I will always be present at the borough council meetings. And if called upon to break a tie, my decision will be fair in the best interest of my neighbors. As mayor, I am not empowered to run the borough. That is the job of the elected members of the council. A mayor should work with the council for all the residents. I, Nick May, offer no personal agenda, but I will be there to represent the people that elect me to office. As mayor, I will also always be available to the residents and businesses for any concerns that they may have. I truly believe Milford is what it is today not because of one person or organization, but the whole community and residents and businesses alike. I want to thank everyone who voted for me in the primary and ask for your vote again. And also like to thank everyone who has supported me and helped me during this election. I'm very excited for a chance to serve you as mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see it. I wasn't there.
No, it's perfect. I'm Sean Strube, and I want to thank the Courier team for organizing this. I think just having an event like this is really great for the borough. I think any opportunity where we bring more people who live in the borough together is good, and especially when we're here talking about issues facing the borough. I will tell you, there is every single one of the candidates, in my view, would be really great elected officials in Milford Borough. I mean that sincerely. I don't think they're really like bad choices here, but there are differences. I'm sure we'll get to some of those over the course of the evening. But some of the things that I've really valued in all my sort of engagement in public things in Milford and elsewhere is with elected officials is really having elected officials who are responsive, and anyone who has ever tried to reach me by phone or by email knows that I'm very responsive, who listens, who values transparency and accountability, and especially at this level, nonpartisanship. We have created something very, very special with the Milford Borough Council and Milford governance over the last couple of years, which is, I believe we have the least partisan council that I've seen since I've lived in Milford Borough. And I think we're now at a point that if any member of the council, Republican or Democrat, tried to bring partisanship into a decision that the council faced, that the other members of the council would react negatively to that. And I think that's something that is a testament to the voters of Milford and is a real asset for the borough. As mayor, Nick outlined the two specific responsibilities of the mayor. One is managing the police department, and the other is breaking ties on the council when they occur. How mayors interpret that role varies a lot from one community to another around the state. I've chosen a role that is more public, that is a cheerleader and an advocate and defender of Milford, and one that tries to prompt discussion to look beyond the horizon at the challenges and opportunities that the borough faces. And that's time, so thank you.
Thank you. Rob.
My name is Rob Siervo. I've been a 16-year resident of Milford Borough. My children went to the Delaware Valley School District. I'm a sitting council member. My wife works for the county. My business is based in Milford Borough. And I think there are a lot of things still left to finish, so I'm going to run again to see if we can still have that opportunity.
My name is Aaron May. I'm running for Milford Borough Council. I just got appointed for a 2-year term to finish out Patrick Beck's seat. And then if that happens, we'll resign that. I believe I'd like to be an asset for Milford Borough to help solve problems and work together as a team to effectively and efficiently to solve problems.
Hi, thank you. My name is Kim Reno. I've lived here almost 20 years in the borough. My husband and I own a house on Sarah Street. We have a business across the street here, right here, so we're in the borough quite a bit. I first got interested in running for council when I heard that our police, the borough police, were very much underpaid, and there was a rumor going around that we were going to Eastern Pike Regional, and I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen unless it was absolutely necessary and we knew about it. I just think that I will bring fresh eyes to the borough council, that I see things a little differently a lot of times. I have a different view. There's 9% of the borough that's under the poverty limit here. I think there are things that we need to do for them, things that we need to make sure that we know that they're getting the benefits they need. And I hope to bring about some of the exact changes that I'd like to do, some of the things I'd like to bring about when we have more time.
Frank, you're up.
I'm going to use everybody else's extra time. My name's Frank Tarquinio. I lived in the borough. Monday will be the 37th year that I've lived in the borough. I have raised my 3 daughters here. I love the borough. I've seen the borough change. The demographics have changed 4 or 5 times during it. It's still a wonderful borough, better borough than it was 35 years ago. I've always commuted to other locations, so I think I understand that part of the borough, which has changed over the years. I was one of the first commuters. Now it's common. I'm going to use the rest of my time to talk about the issues we have to face. First one is we have to face the ambulance corps. I think you've all read in the papers about the advanced life support not being available in Pike County anymore. We have a problem with the basic life support. As we have young people, they commute, more young people commute. The ambulance department we have in town is going to need support. We're going to have to look how we finance both basic support and how we finance as part of the county, and the county's working on that. But we do have an issue where we have to get advanced life support. Milford Borough is the second largest percentage of advanced life support calls over the first 9 months of this year. So not having it close is a problem. We have to deal with that. Second issue we have to deal with is the changes in traffic. And part of that is GPS. Part of it's the fact we haven't had as many policemen. But it's an issue we have to deal with, how we change traffic, how we spend money, how we find money. And we're going to have to face money is really an issue underlying everything. You know, everything cost goes up. 85% of the budget today, 47% is on the police department, the 37%, 38% is on the road crew. And so we have very little money to make improvements, to change things, and yet we have to. And, you know, I think everyone on the council, coming to the council, realizes, I've got 6 more seconds, that taxes is not the answer. So we have to find other revenue sources. And the last thing is we have to face our roads, the infrastructure. We have things like Brook Hill Road and East Catherine Street collapsing going down to the river. And we have to keep the rest of the infrastructure up. I've got more to say, but my time's up.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
So before we continue, there's more room over here. There's actually an extra seat here, but there's also more room, so that, would anybody like to move from where they are up to over the side here? And we can also fit some people over here, too, if you'd like. Okay, we're going to start questioning. Molly, do you want to?
We can all stand.
We're just checking our streaming to see if it's actually working before we get to the heart of the matter. Hold on 1 second. How's it working? Okay? Okay, you say when. Okay, go, Pam, you're up. Okay. Milford Borough's vibrant music and arts community is growing by leaps and bounds. At the same time, Milford is known and beloved for its peace and quiet. An issue has developed regarding live musical performance and that love of quiet. Where do you stand on this issue of growing Milford's nightlife as opposed to preserving its peace and serenity? You go first.
I would say you have to balance it as best you can. You need to talk about it. Try to come to a good understanding what everybody feels in the borough, whether it be a business owner or somebody in a back alley that doesn't get the public to come out and support. You have to figure out a common ground, and that's the job of the council along with the mayor to try and find that.
Sean?
Sure. I don't think the arts community and the quality of life are necessarily at odds. I think they actually are pretty interlinked. The challenge we've had in the borough is we've had, first of all, we have some ordinances that are unclear, that are interpreted differently by different people. We've had inconsistent enforcement. You know, we're a very small borough with very few employees. And I think we have, you know, at present, we've got some things that are problems. You know, we know and I'll mention it because it's come up so often, the music at the dairy bar, which was a conditional use permit, but there hasn't really been the kind of monitoring of it that's necessary to keep it from being too intrusive on the neighbors. I compare it a little bit like when you go to the beach, you've got your blanket and people over there have their blanket, and you have your radio on and they have theirs on. And there's a point at which, you know, everybody kind of accepts that. You're in a shared space, but there's a point at which it's really inappropriate. And we need to step in and enforce that when it becomes inappropriate. You know, I've said that the festivals, with the music festival, I tell the business community that we have to be very conscious of keeping it under control, because we don't want it to be a Bourbon Street. Nobody wants it to become a carnival. I know I saw Midge's letter to the editor this week referred to it being a carnival. Nobody wants that. You know, I'll lose my customers at the hotel. So what Nick said is right. It's a balance.
Probably repetitious, but it is a balance. We have a community based on backing businesses that need this to thrive. We need the music festivals and these events to attract people. We survive on tourism. That's the only way Milford Borough is going to exist. So, you know, residents obviously have to be a little more patient with the businesses because they have to cooperate together. Without one, the other one's not going to exist. So it's a balance.
Pretty much the same thing. We're gonna have to balance it, how it works together. We're all in this together as a community, whether you're a business owner or a resident. There also is a time when it is too loud that it should be policed or taken care of in a necessary way to ensure that we can try to keep as many people happy as possible. And it's hard to keep everybody happy.